Hey, yo yo yo! I'm back to yo 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 again. So I look a little more presentable today. I just got done doing freshman orientation. That's always a fun chore, particularly when you get into the later sessions where there's not as many things available. Anyway, this video starts our discussion of the four P's of marketing, and the first P that we will focus on is product, and we will talk about both product concepts in this video, and then the next video will talk about product management issues. So what we're going to do in this particular video is we are going to define what a product is. We are going to talk about the different types of consumer products. We won't focus on business to business or industrial products because, again, just as I mentioned in the consumer behavior video, we're all consumers, and so we would have much more familiarity with consumer products than with business to business or industrial products. We will also spend a little bit of time talking about the product line, product mix concept, and then we will conclude with a brief overview, excuse me, of the branding concept. So let's define what's meant by a product, and there's a lot of different definitions of a product, and the one that we'll use for our purposes is anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So again, anything of value to a customer that can be obtained through an exchange. So products can be goods, right? So for example, here's my trusty little cup or whatever it is, a drinking container, right? That's a good. I can touch it, I can feel it, right? Bounce, great, wonderful. A product could be a service. So I noticed that several of you in the class are accountancy majors, and you're likely to study for the CPA exam at one time in your career. CPAs provide a service, right? And then there are also places. So if you think about some of the advertisements that you or some of the promotions that you might see, come visit Florida because there's a lot of fun things to do in Florida, or come to Cleveland, or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So again, all those can be products. So again, product, anything of value to a consumer that can be obtained through an exchange. There are different types of consumer products, and the importance of understanding what type of consumer product you're dealing with is important because different products have different implications from a marketing perspective. So I like to talk about four different types of consumer products. The first that I talk about is what is known as an unsought product. These are products the customer doesn't know about or doesn't want, and these products tend to be really hard to market. And so an example that I've used in the past about unsought products, not so much, not as prevalent, but it still resonates with classes. Example would be pet insurance. I know when I first started talking about unsought products in Marketing 301, probably maybe in the early 2000s, inevitably when I would mention that in class, like pet insurance, people would start laughing like, "Well, you're an idiot. I mean, who gets insurance for their pets?" And it turns out that pet insurance is a growing thing, but still not a lot of people are aware of it, and so there has to be a creative way to kind of convince people that they need pet insurance, and basically one of the ways that companies do that is by if you have let's say you have a dog. I have a couple of friends who have retrievers, and retrievers are very susceptible to blowing out their ACL, right? Their knees, and ACL surgery for a dog, can run from $1,500 to $2,000. And so if you had an insurance policy, right, there you go. So again, you've got unsought products, and the challenge with unsought products is they're really difficult to market, in part because you can't convince people that they want the thing or they need the thing. Secondly, they just may not be aware of it. There are also what is known as convenience products, and these refer to products that are purchased frequently, immediately, and with a minimum of purchasing effort. Right, so convenience product is a product that's purchased frequently, immediately, with a minimum of purchasing effort. They tend to be found in a lot of places. So if you think about the products that you're looking for the first assignment, those would all be considered convenience products. All right, so you'll find them like everywhere. A third type of consumer product is what is known as a shopping product, and these are products where the customer compares prices, quality, style, and other features. So a really good example of shopping products would be shoes, and particularly if you've ever been to a mall, you might just scratch your head and say, boy, there are a lot of shoe stores in a mall. And because shoes tend to be shopping products, right? That you might be able to go to one store and it may carry one brand, and then you go to another store and it carries another brand, and you might have a feeling that the two brands are similar in quality. And you might be looking at things like, well, okay, so if I think they're similar in quality, how do the prices compare? What about the features? Things of that nature. So you have shopping products, and then the fourth type of consumer product is what is known as a specialty product, and that's an item for which a customer is willing to look for a specific brand. So what you're likely to, so again, that a specialty product is a product for which customer is willing to look for a specific brand. So one of the things that you will find with specialty products is that you won't be able to find them in a lot of places. And a second thing that you will often find with a specialty product is because people are willing to make or look for a specific brand, the marketers generally is often, I won't say generally, is often able to charge a higher price for the product. So we've provided a brief overview of the different types of consumer products, and again, the importance of the classification is that it has distinct implications for the marketing of the product. So the next thing that we said we were going to talk about is the product mix, product line concept. And I'll actually start by defining a product line. Product line refers to a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and are sold in similar places. Right? You say, okay, run that by me again, big boy. So their product line refers to a set of items that are related because they function in a similar manner and are sold in similar places. So an example of that would be if you're familiar with Procter & Gamble, consumer products company that's headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. If you think about the different laundry detergents that Procter & Gamble offers, they offer Tide, and they offer Era, and they offer Cheer. And so Procter & Gamble's laundry detergents might qualify as an example of a product line because, if you think about detergents, they function in a similar manner, and you tend to find them in the same places. So you might find the Procter & Gamble detergents, you might find them in a supermarket, you might find them in a pharmacy, you might find them in a mass merchandiser, you might find them in a discount store. So you can buy, these products are sold in similar outlets. Okay. When we talk about product mix simply refers to all products and all product lines that are sold by or that are offered for sale by an individual company. So the product mix refers to all products and all product lines. So if you think of Procter & Gamble, not only sells laundry detergents, but it sells deodorant and toothpaste and things of that nature. All right. So there are several concepts associated with product mix. One of which is what is known as product breadth, and that refers to the number of different product lines that an organization offers, right? So product breadth, sometimes called product width, refers to the number of different product lines that an organization offers. So, again, if we go back to Procter & Gamble, the company offers laundry detergents, they offer beauty products, they offer hygiene products. They also offer pet food, which doesn't necessarily fit real well, but it gives you an idea that Procter & Gamble, to use a phrase, isn't a one-trick pony. Procter & Gamble has multiple product lines that it offers, and product breadth or product width refers to the number of different product lines that are offered by an organization. A second product mix concept is what is known as depth, or product mix depth, and that refers to the variety of sizes, colors, and models in a product line. And one of the ways that I illustrate this in face-to-face is I go into the Procter & Gamble website and I just go to Tide, which is one of Procter & Gamble's laundry detergents. And if you get the opportunity and go to the Procter & Gamble or go to the Tide website and you start looking at the different varieties, because you've got regular Tide and you've got Tide with Febreze and you've got Tide with Downy and you've got liquid Tide and you've got powdered Tide, and then you have all sorts of different sizes that these products can be bought in. That provides an example of product mix depth. I mean, there's just tremendous, it just becomes mind-boggling after a while if you look at all the different combinations of Tide products that potentially could be offered. And you won't find all of them in a particular, location, but it just is, like I said, it's really something, it just, I go back and every time I look at it, it seems like Procter & Gamble has added another variety, because what Procter & Gamble sometimes does with its laundry detergents is it like leverages other brands. So for example, Febreze, which is an air freshener, is a Procter & Gamble brand, and in the last 4 or 5 years, Procter & Gamble has incorporated Tide with Febreze. Downy, which is a fabric softener, is also a Procter & Gamble brand, and Procter & Gamble has incorporated Tide with Downy. So, like I said, the product mix depth refers to the variety of sizes, colors, and models in a product line. And then a third product mix concept refers to product mix consistency, and that refers to the relatedness of different product lines. And as I alluded to a little earlier, how well do the product lines fit together? And so, kind of an outlier for Procter & Gamble was its product line that focused on dog food, because you think of detergents, you think of beauty products, you think of hygiene products, you don't necessarily think of dog food, and so consistency again refers to the relatedness of different product lines, and that becomes important. The relatedness of different product lines becomes important from a marketing perspective, because if the product lines aren't related, an organization may need to set up different channels. They may need to work with a different set of intermediaries. They may need to adopt wholly different pricing products and inventory management products, and things of that nature. So we've talked about the product line, and we defined the product line, gave an example, and we talked about product mix in terms of breadth, depth, and consistency. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about is the concept of branding, and there are many other product concepts that we could talk about. But we'll conclude this discussion with a look at branding. And a brand can be defined as a name, a term, design, or symbol that identifies a product. So again, a brand can refer to a name, a term, a design, or symbol that identifies a product. So if we think about Coca-Cola, that's a name. Okay, that's a brand. If we think about a design, or symbol, we might be looking at something like the golden arches for McDonald's, or Nike's swoosh, that identifies the brand. And of course, Nike is a brand name, but you can put together a brand name with a design and or a symbol. All right, so a lot of different issues associated with brands. We obviously don't have enough time to talk about all of them. But one of the questions is asked is, well, why brands? Why is there such a big emphasis on brands? And there's value. There's a lot of value for buyers when it comes to brands. And so when a buyer sees something that says Nike, or it says Coca-Cola, or it says Apple, or it says Sony, buyers can take a lot of comfort because, names like Nike and Sony and Apple and Coca-Cola um, um, are very comfortable to a lot of consumers. They recognize them. They understand that that brand has been around for a long time. From a seller's perspective, a brand can have tremendous value. Your book talks about the idea of brand equity, and kind of what is a brand worth. So there's pluses for both buyers and sellers when it comes to the concept of branding. Um, One of the issues associated with brand is the concept of brand ownership. And that brings in the discussion of manufacturer brands versus private brands. So a manufacturer brand would be, if you think of something like a washing machine, you have Whirlpools, and you have General Electrics, and not so much anymore because General Electric is in the process of selling its washing machines. But people often trust Whirlpool brand because Whirlpool is a manufacturer. Um, there are also private brands. These are brands that are generally sold by a retailer that may carry a name that's affiliated with that particular retailer. So, for example, if you go into Sears, um, the mass merchandiser, you'll see washing machines in there that carry the Kenmore name. Kenmore is a private label or a private brand that is exclusive to Sears, right? And the private brands in many cases are made by the manufacturers, and the reason for that is that the manufacturing brand and the private label brands, they allow companies to set different price points for their products, so that, for example, not everybody is comfortable paying the amount of money that's associated with a manufacturer brand. So if you look, for example, at a Whirlpool washing machine tends to come with a higher price. Well, not everybody can afford that particular price. But by offering private labels or private brands that are made by Whirlpool but that don't carry the Whirlpool brand name, you can appeal to different segments. And so, kind of the manufacturer versus the private brand. Um, Gets into kind of a pricing as well as a segmentation issue. And I once did consulting work for an organization, not allowed to mention the name of the organization, but it sold the same washing machine under three different brand names, one of which was the manufacturer brand, and the other two were um, private brands, and they were the identical washing machine. Literally, the only difference was the name that was put on the washing machine, and the fact that they were sold at three distinct price points, with the manufacturer brand being priced probably $75 to $100 more expensive than one private brand, and maybe $125 to $150 more expensive than the second private brand. So we talked about brand ownership. And Brand extension is another consideration that's associated with a brand, and that is where a brand name is applied to different product lines. So you start, for example, and I think Under Armour provides a nice example of that. Under Armour started with basically making wickable athletic products, and now Under Armour makes a number of other products that have really nothing to do with wickable athletic products. So, and there's risk involved with brand extension, okay? Because if the extension isn't successful, that may potentially harm kind of the mother brand. So, for example, when Coke came out with Diet Coke back in the mid 1980s, it was the first time that Coke had ever done a brand extension that included the Coke name in a product. So again, brand extension is a brand name that is applied to different product lines. So I've hit about the 20-minute, 40-second point here. So we will stop and we will see you for product management discussion. See you, bye.